Hello all, Old Geek here, and got a magazine open again, and we're on the Dragon number 25, still $2. Price went up a few issues back, didn't it? Volume 3, number 2, May 1979. So we're heading towards the summer of 1979, and Dragon's up to 48 pages now, and the last issue or two of the Dragon, I think I said, wasn't it 24 that I believed was the best issue of the Dragon thus far? And then White Dwarf, which had been floundering a little, last issue really upped its game. So is the summer of 79 the time when we see the magazines going properly head to head with some decent quality content? Let's find out. The cover, right, by Dragon standards, even though I'm not a sci-fi gun sort of person, it's quite a bright and colourful and interesting cover. I like these eyes. These eyes are intriguing. But let's face it, the Dragon's covers, this is a decent one by Dragon standards. They're not a patch on White Dwarf's covers. White Dwarf really has got the cover war well and truly won at the moment. But the Dragon is tending to have more content. White Dwarf is thinner and has a higher percentage of adverts to its page count. So let's see. Right, Gamma World, an alien in a strange land. Nothing else showing on the cover. Still, I don't like the fact that they use this white. It's not good, is it? It's not good. And yeah, presentation's still meh. Nice bright cover though. You know what I'm going to say about the Valpartho advert? If you've been following this series now, they haven't learnt, have they? They really have not learnt. Valpartho adverts, very bland, too much wasted space. Fourth Dimension, the game of time and space. I don't know anything about this game. Was it a TSR game? Oh, first released in Britain. Oh, TSR bought it, basically taken it to America. Okay. I don't know anything about space games, to be honest. As you know, I'm not a space waller. Right, let's see what's in the contents thing. Well, there's your Gamma World thing in the Designers Forum. So we've got Judging and You, Jim Ward. Yes, my lord. Sorry, Your Honour. Sorcerer's Scroll, the proper place of character social class in D&D. Right. 20th century primitive. Don't know what that's going to be about. Gamma World artifact used to select a mythos. Right, okay. Features out on a limb. Will the real orc please step forward? Ooh. Gamma World map pull out. So there's a lot of Gamma World in this issue. Fiction, the tug of machine and an alien in a strange land. Jim Ward's been busy. Variants, the Traveller Navy wants to join you. And varieties of vampires. Okay, that's something that's piqued my interest. Humour. Excerpt from an interview with an iron golem. Golems don't have brains, do they? So, Mr. Golem, how are you feeling today? Ah, yes. And the wife and kids? Phineas Fingers. Okay, that's back. Background: the Armada's disasters, the armies of the Renaissance, flower wars, Xochitl, rules for pre-Hispanic Mexican warfare, arms and armor of the conquistadors. Yeah, that sounds quite. The background stuff sounds quite interesting. So obviously, with now being 48 pages, they can put a lot more in there. And it looks like they really are spreading things out. There's a bit of a leaning towards Gamma World, but there's plenty of other stuff to keep people interested. I said that came out really badly, didn't it? If you like Gamma World, there's a lot to keep you interested, but those of us who don't like sci-fi, to keep us interested, plenty enough to keep us interested. Right, Tim Cask, a non-wargaming friend of mine, recently asked why I did this. Why did I put all my effort into this line of work? What do I perceive my endeavours to be? Part of this curiosity stems from the fact that this person has no inkling of what games are about in our context of gaming. I feel that during my tenure, the Dragon has done rather well on most of those counts. Philosophies, variants and debates, yeah, okay. But failed miserably in one function. To judge from the mail I read, the Dragon must have the most brilliant group of controversy and no commentary. Early on in our publishing life, we had a letters page that died for lack of participation. Is that why it disappeared? 2 issues ago, we revived it. I used that word revive guardedly because it might as well still be dead, judging from the response it has failed to generate. What? Nerds? Keeping their opinions to themselves? Maybe it's just the tone that people were using in the letters page. There's a lot of holier-than-thou stuff, which, to be honest, puts people off contributing. I know nerds like to argue, but if everyone's coming back at everybody else going, no, you're wrong, you're stupid, engage your brain, then people are going to be put off. Oh, you've received no letters. Oh. Yeah, well, hear from people, but don't instantly tear people apart when they give opinions. And I'm not saying it's the editing team who are solely responsible for that, though I did see a bit of that. It's replies as well from other nerds. A part of Gamma World Revisited, James N. Ward. Okay. Not my thing, Gamma World. Sorry, James. Judging Anew by James M. Ward. Oh, okay. This is all about Gamma World as well. Planet Master or Starship Master. Okay. So let's just skip past these. I'll pause it. If you want to read it, there it is. There it is. The Tug of the Machine by Alan Evans. Not a fan of this fact that they put the text on a black background here. No, it's very short. Very short though. I might come back and read that because it is short. The Armada Disasters. I wonder how much of this they get right. Because of course, the Spanish Armada pretty much met its end, attempting to take out the British. Drake and fire ships. I will certainly come back and read this. TSR Hobbies is looking for an artist. College training or experience in being a wargamer, necessary qualifications for this position. Knowledge of human or animal anatomy and a skill with pen and ink are most important. Who got this job? Answers in the comments below, please. Who came in? It's 1979. Jeff D? Did he come in around 1979? Feels like a bit too soon for Jim Holloway. Or is this where the likes of Eastleigh? No, it's too soon. It's too soon for Eastleigh. I don't know. He illustrated Lost Caverns of Sojkanth, which was 82. Might be a bit soon. There are a few that came in sort of 79, 80. I believe Jeff D's one of them. Truman, 81, 82-ish. I'd be interested to find out who got this job. Right. Convention schedule? Anything on my side of the Atlantic? No. No, it looks like it's Texas, Pennsylvania, Michigan, California. No. Canada. Oh, Canada. There we go. I'm going to Canada in October for Clericon. From the Sorcerer's Scroll, the proper place of character social class in D&D. Right, so do you remember Unearthed Arcana? Because of the addition of the Cavalier, put in a social class table, and it, in my experience, it very rarely had any impact on play unless you were actually playing a Cavalier or the Paladin variant of Cavalier, which is a bit of a shame. Would have been quite nice to have that come in. I mean, certainly in the Palladium game I'm playing at the moment, the Bears running, social class is a major aspect, and that's good. I like it. I like having those sort of levels of depth to a campaign. My character in that game is wannabe upper class. He is officially a noble, but his family, pretty much, they came from working class roots, and they were given their titles by serving their leader through industry, commerce. A bought title? No, they worked for it. But they're not of royal, not of aristocratic blood. But he tries to make out he is. Right, so a little table you roll on. Different types of government. Yep. Aristocracy. Government by a privileged class. Plutocracy. Government by the wealthy. All right, let's zoom on. That's an interest. I think that's going to be an interesting little article. Out on a limb, a review of the film The Lord of the Rings in the form of an open letter to Saul Zentz and Ralph Bakshi. Oh, okay. So this is Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings. Assuming that you can raise the bucks for a sequel, I would like to make a few suggestions. Don't use superb literary concepts as tinsel. Don't use a script that only insiders can understand. Don't introduce people and places so casually. And don't be Hollywood pimps, using a beloved literary work as a prostitute to make a cheap buck. Make it a film that will entertain without confusing, or else do the world a favour and don't make it at all. Ouch. 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 I know of a lot of people who like that adaptation, though. It's a long time since I've seen it. But Tim Cass doesn't like it either. His little editorial here slams it. Is this... All right. But that's the thing about art. It's all subjective. This looks like a letter. Totally disagree with the author's comments concerning Alpha Omega. Oh, doesn't like it. I'm going to skip to page 34 because they've annoyingly broken this one up. But I want to see if this is from the creator of Alpha Omega. If this is like someone coming back. Was Kenneth W. Burke the creator of Alpha Omega? I don't know. But somebody disagreed with the review. And yeah, this is a scattered letters page. But yeah, when you review something, you open yourself up to comeback. But I think it is important that reviewers are open and honest about their opinions. Otherwise, what is the point of the review? The West Finster Wargaming Society. These rules are an amalgamation of WRG Tractics? I don't know Tractics. unless it's a spelling mistake. It might be, might not be. And Tobruk, with a lot of my own modifications. 400 pages far out. What are my tigers? They're in the valley a minute ago. What valley? Hill 207 is moving. Hey Ed, your sand tab is leaking. Oh, cat got through the barricade. Okay, okay. I'm guessing it's in humour, because I'm not a wargamer. I've played occasional war games, but you wouldn't class me as a wargamer. So there we go. Armies of the Renaissance. I read about historical battles and historical weaponry. I don't really have any interest in recreating them. The Condottiere and the Papacy. Okay. A bit of history for you. Ooh, next time the English from St Albans to the Boyne. That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. Battle of St Albans. Was that in the Wars of the Roses? Am I thinking the wrong one? Having just said I like battles and history or whatever, have I just shown myself up? I get confused between which are Wars of the Roses battles and English Civil War. Oh, Marston Moor, Edge Hill, English Civil War, yeah. And Towton, obviously Bosworth Field. They're big Wars of the Roses battles, but St Albans. Oh, I can't remember. It's annoying me. I'm getting old. The real orc, please step forward. Dealing with the proliferation of orcish miniatures. Okay, so it's judging miniatures as to how they look, types of orcs. I like Tolkien orcs, and I'd like the AD&D pig orcs as well. I'm not a fan of the modern day big muscular orcs with green skin. I guess I'm a little bit of a traditionalist there. I mean, it's what I first encountered. So I read Tolkien, I played D&D and AD&D when I was in my early teens. So that's what I picture an orc to be. Something between those two, depending on the setting. I don't picture them to be really big, bulky, muscular Arnold Schwarzenegger wannabes, but different people have different opinions. So yes. Now here is where you could have done with a decent photograph showing the various miniatures, because that's a really bad piece of art. I'm not sure that art adds anything at all to the magazine other than looking comical. How many of those orcs would you be proud of drawing? Maybe that one in the middle. But the others? The others look like the sort of thing I was drawing when I was 14, 15. And I'm not an artist. So, no. I mean, I'm no better an artist now, so I still draw at the same level as I did when I was 14 or 15. But so when I'm saying I could draw these, I probably could. What is it with this front right one? No, just right. I mean, the one in the middle, front row middle, is okay-ish. But look at some of the others. It's terrible. I don't know who the artist was, but it's not good. It's not good. The Traveller Navy wants to join you. New service opportunities for Navy characters. Okay, bit of Traveller. Lots of you like Traveller. I don't play Traveller, even though I've been told it's probably the one sci-fi game I might enjoy. I enjoy Paranoia because it's funny. It's a piss take. But it's technobabble I don't enjoy. That's the best way to describe it. I like Call of Cthulhu, and people have said there was sci-fi elements to Call of Cthulhu, but it's not techno babble. It's not jumping miles between billions of miles between galaxies in the blink of an eye and using your ultra super duper photon ray gun, whatever. I'm not into any of that. Not into any of that at all. Okay, this is the Gamma World map. Okay, fine. Why is that Gamma? I mean, are these different star systems or something, or is it a planet? That shows how much I know about Gamma World. Gamma World artifact use chart. Some flow chart thing. More map. It's a planet, isn't it? Yeah, because these are trees and mountains and stuff. Was Gamma World set in in the map of the USA? Because yeah, there we are. You've got the Gulf of California. These will be the Rockies. Oh, right, yeah, I see now. So you've got Florida down here, and New York will be up there. And there's the Great Lakes. I should have spotted that the first time, shouldn't I? So I'm guessing Gamma World is a futuristic USA thing. Because you've got all the names here. All the cities. Yes, I do know where most of these are. Most of them. Some I haven't heard of here. Schenectady? I've never heard of that before. Never heard of it. I'm British. You haven't heard of most of our names, I guess. Because we don't all live in London. I live 2 hours away from London. I don't know anybody in London. So, no, I don't know your cousin who lives in London. I wonder if any of my old work colleagues are in London. I think so. Actually, I might know a few people who live in London because people I went to university with, some of them got jobs down there. I pity them. And certainly some of my old work colleagues from my first proper job, at least one of them moved down to London when the office closed up here. Yeah. Yeah, I might. That might be 4 people out of 8 million. This looks like it's more Gamma World. Gamma World figures. Interview with an Iron Golem. If the Iron Golem says anything, then this interview is wrong. But I'm not going to read it now because it goes on for too long. Gen Con status report. Judges events wanted for Gen Con. Here's the rest of the letters. The thing is, he's moaned about there not being enough letters. And yet, we've got one reply to a review. And then it spreads it across to another page, where you've got another page of letters. And it continued on page 46. You'd have enough letters if you had a letters page and didn't spread them around. If you confined it to one page, you've got enough letters already for the next issue. Because letters, they don't have to be answered straight away, do they? If they start flooding in, then expand it to two. But you've got enough letters for multiple issues here. So what was your moaning in that editorial all about? War of Flowers. What's this? Aztec. Cool. Do we know... How much do we know about the Aztecs in terms of documenting their history? I mean, we've seen pictures. Obviously, their artwork, their pottery and paintings and those sort of things. I don't know anything about any sort of written stuff they may have passed down. I really don't. There's a gap in my knowledge there. Because I know we know a lot about their rituals and their gods from... Yeah, well, of course, yeah, when the Spanish interacted with them as well for a while, so we know a bit about that. Though, how much of what we know is what the Spanish painted? Because history is written by the victors, and of course, the disease carried by the Spanish ended up wiping out the Aztecs. So, how much of that was embellished by the conquistadors, we won't know. But the Aztecs are fascinating. Fascinating. Very cruel. Very different society. Very different attitude towards life and death. Congratulations and good luck from TSR Periodicals to Vicky Miller and Brian Bloom. Oh, Brian Bloom gets married 6 years before he gets involved in ripping TSR apart. Well, he got involved in ripping it apart a few years after this, but it was about 1985 when it really came to a head, wasn't it? Xochiyayotl. How was my pronunciation? Don't know. Rules for pre-Hispanic Mexican warfare. Cool. Cool. I said I'm not into big historical battles. I mean, we did a stream last week on mass battles, and I do enjoy the occasional fantasy mass battle. Don't want it to dominate my gaming, but it's, as a change of pace, it can be very interesting. So if you're setting a campaign in the Mesoamerican world, this might be useful. Phineas Fingers, welcome back, not. Stay away next time. Variety of vampires. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, vampires, it says it here at the top. After considerable research, I have found several types of vampires from classical legends around the world and arranged them in D&D format. Okay, of course. Most legends have some form of blood-sucking undead that's horrible. So you've got all the different names of vampires down here. Most Nosferat, Vklodlak, Jingxi. Obviously, I've heard Nosferatu, common vampire. I guess it's the usual. Imagine the Dracula-esque one. I've not heard of most of the others. Interesting. And you get stats for each of them. Oh, Bruja. Woman by day, a bird at night, hence is active even in sunlight. Otherwise it's like a common vampire. To select a mythos. Every really good campaign in which I have the pleasure to play or judge has one common trait. A well-developed mythos. Yeah, you've got to have a little bit of background, a bit of sort of structure, a bit of story about your game world. It doesn't have to be overly complex. In fact, it can be developed as the game goes on. Yeah. You can develop it as the game goes on. You can use the players to fill in the gaps. Get them invested, get them making, get them interacting with people, get them creating legends. Yes. Yes. Arms and armor of the conquistadors. Okay, that's the famous Spanish helmet. Yes, that is the basket-hilted swords that they used to employ. It's a rapier. Yep. Yes. Old weapons. A bit of colour here as well. This appears to be the rest of the letters page. The international DM search is on again. Wargame figure painting competition. An adventure in search of the unknown. Take a trip with the dragon through the limitless worlds of your imagination. Ah, this is, yeah. How much is a subscription now? $24 for 13 issues, or $2 per issue. It's not a bad deal. You're basically getting one. Oh, North American only. How much would it have? I suppose you'd have to treble that, wouldn't you, to get it all posted over to the UK. Ah well. So, what do I think then? I like the fact that it's now pretty much permanently 48 pages. They can pack in a lot, and there's a lot of variety in here. Even though they've banged on with about more sci-fi than I would like to see, there's enough room in there to put in the stuff about the vampires, to put the stuff about the conquistadors, to talk about the Armada, Aztecs. You've got 2 short stories in there which don't fill up too much space, and you've got articles relating to, I mean, there must have been half a dozen relating to Gamma World, but you've still got some D&D in here, and you've still got enough to keep fantasy fans interested. Is it as good as the previous issue? Of course I'm going to say not, because there's not as much in here that would appeal to me. There's still a few issues with presentation. That piece of artwork for the orcs was hopeless, unnecessary. They were talking about depictions in figures. That's where you should have got lines of figures showing the differences. So there's still a long way to go in terms of quality, and there is a bit of moaning in here that I don't agree with as well. I like to see the letters coming back, but there was enough letters page in there to make sure the next issue's got a letters page, and so on. So I disagree with the editorial bit at the start. It's interesting. I mean, it's far from the worst issue of the Dragon I've seen. There's a lot in there. So is it worth? Would it have been worth getting? Absolutely. Would I have read everything in here? Probably, because when I was 7 years old at this time, the equivalent of $2 would have been a lot of money to me. So I'd have probably read it cover to cover many times, even if I don't have the interest in sci-fi, because I bought it. I am damn well going to use it. Is it as good as the previous issue? No, of course not. Anyway, still, the Dragon is still looking like the bigger magazine, the dominant magazine in the magazine world for fantasy games. White Dwarf's on the climb, though, so I'm interested in seeing how good the next White Dwarf issue is. But until then, I've been the Odd Geek. I hope you enjoyed this read through. I'll see you soon.